Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to explain how to do a two-way ANOVA. I already have my data downloaded, but if you didn't, you would just come up here to those lines and open computer and then wherever you saved it. Make sure you save it as a CSV file because JASP doesn't work well with other file formats. Quick disclaimer, when I did this survey, I didn't plan to do a two-way ANOVA, so I didn't have a second independent variable. I didn't have a moderator. So I made up these values. These are not real data. So this is fake. These analyses are fake. Do not take them as real results. So now that I've got that out of the way, I just want to go over and make sure that all of my levels of measurement are correct for my variables. You can tell that by clicking on these little pictures, and then they can be scale, ordinal, or nominal. This is my first grouping variable. It's high versus low openness to experience. And so I want it to be nominal, which it is. And then I have my average MIBI, which is my outcome variable, my gender centrality, and that's scale. But this one, because there were 3 different groups, they assumed that I meant this as an ordinal data, which I did not because one gender is not more of a gender than another. So I'm going to go ahead and change that to nominal, just like that. So now I have lots of zeros and ones in 2 different columns, and that can be a little bit confusing. So to change that, I'm just going to click on the actual word and then type in what it means. So for this one, it's low openness to experience and high openness to experience. And that then shows up here. And then I'm going to do the same for gender, where 0 is female, 1 is male, and 2 is other. So then that just shows up here. So now that that's set up, I'm going to go ahead and go to ANOVA and then click ANOVA again. And this pops up. Now I want to go ahead and scroll down, and I'm going to move my outcome variable, my continuous measure, and I can click and drag into dependent variable. Alternatively, you can also use these little arrows if you just click on it and then click the arrow. But we want this in fixed factor as well as this. So my 2 nominal variables are going in fixed factor. And so now I'm just going to come over here and see if I have any significant effects. I have a significant interaction, which is pretty funny because this is made up data, but that's okay. We're going to go ahead and look at it anyway. So I'm going to scroll down now. And I want to do post hoc tests. So I'm going to show you how to do the post hoc test for my gender variable, even though it's not significant. You wouldn't need this unless this was significant, but just so you know how to do it, I will show you. So I'm going to post hoc, and then I need it for the gender variable because there are 3 choices instead of 2. So I'm just going to go ahead. I need to figure out where that difference is if there was one. I'm going to move it over. And that shows up over here. And just as we already knew, none of that shows up as significant, P Tukey. So this is a Tukey test. And there are no differences, which we knew because it wasn't significant up here. Now that that's done, I want to look at simple main effects to look at that interaction effect. And so the simple effect factor is going to be P split. So I want to know whether openness to experience has an effect or a relationship with gender centrality. And I want to know whether that's moderated by gender. So I put that there. And I'm going to scroll down. And it is. So it looks like, based on this, we have 1 significant effect. So with my made up data, again, these results are totally fake. it looks like there is only an effect of openness to experience on gender centrality for men. That relationship doesn't exist for women or non-binary people. So now I'm going to show you how to get some means, just so that you have that information. So I'm going to go to descriptives and descriptive statistics, and this will help with writing up your analyses. And I want to know the MIBI average for the different groups. So I want to know the average for high and low, so that shows up here. So I see that low low openness to experience had higher gender centrality than high openness to experience, although that effect wasn't significant. But now I have these. So we know now, because of that interaction, that in my fake data, this relationship only exists for men. And so then I am going to do a different descriptive statistic to look at my other variable. Again, I want to put MIBI average there, but this time I'm going to split by gender. And so now this tells me the means for each one. And these look really similar, which we already knew, because there is no significant difference here. The only other thing I would recommend doing is, if you go back to that ANOVA and scroll down to additional options, you can get descriptive statistics. But you need to, I believe you need to move over those variables. Oh, no, it just shows up. Perfect. So now I have my descriptives, and I can see what the different groups look like. So the difference exists for male. So looking at the male mean, we have 70 for low and 42 for high. So that makes sense that that's the difference that exists. So you would just include that in your write-up. And that's everything for your two-way ANOVA. I hope this was helpful.